It's the two dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. Shooting star press like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the reviews. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now, there is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes, time to work, bro.
All right, let's see if he gets it. He did. Perfect timing.
I did it. Look at that.
What a producer you are.
That's right.
Welcome.
That's right.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes of Wrestling podcast, AEW edition. AEW. And as always, I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO, at least for now. And with me, as always, is the honorary dude, Shooting Star Press. As of now, what's going on?
That's right. As of now, yeah, we're gonna have some changes here in probably the next couple of weeks. Good things. Good things.
Logos are being made as we speak. Hopefully, I'll have them by Monday.
Some new good things are on the horizon for this podcast and us as professionals and in this business and everything. So it's all exciting times. Times. So You'll see when we get there. All 0 people watching right now. So
all 0 people watch afterwards.
That's true.
That's what we get. That's the plan anyway, right? We only do live just to do it, just to show how great we are, that we are one takers. We don't need to edit like everybody else. We don't have to record on a Thursday and post it on a Monday because we messed up too much. No, this is all off the top of our heads. That's why we're the best in the business. Better than both Busted Open, 83 weeks, better than Freddie Prinze, better than them all, my man. We are the best in the world. Take that, CM Punk. But anyway, with that said, welcome back to AEW. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of get through Collision and Dynamite because we want to talk a lot about the Tuesday Night Wars. We want to talk about everyone's favorite little misfit, Tony Khan, the ratings, everything else. So, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's break it down.
All right, Collision.
Break it down.
Actually, it's Saturday. Collision. I'm waiting for the graphic to pop up. Let's see.
Oh yeah, it's my first day.
Man, you got the music ended, and then you messed it there. New Year's resolutions for 2023.
There we go.
I think that Tony Khan's gonna send a bunch of weird tweets. Oh, okay. All right, AEW Collision. Let's go. All right, so Collision was on and popping. So I had to say, everybody's so worked up about the Tuesday Night Wars, right? With the C show going up against AEW's A show. But what about AEW's B show going up against a premium live event? And that's what we got here.
We didn't talk about that.
And nobody really was. And Collision was going up against the Fastlane. And I think they're on at like the same time, correct? Am I wrong?
Well, this Fastlane this episode of Collision started an hour early. It started at 7 o'clock Eastern, but it did go head to head. The final hour of Collision went head to head with the opening hour of Fastlane. So this did have some head to head.
So then this makes sense because AEW decided that it was the week of title changes. If you are going to compete, you might as well just have everybody lose their belts. And it started with FTR losing their belts to Ricky Starks and Big Bill himself, and you can't teach that. And this match was a straight up classic squash match. This was I think it went about 4 minutes. Big Bill basically power bombed Mr. Gunn himself, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Yeah, he powerbombed Cash Wheeler through the announce table, which then Cash Wheeler never got up and left Dax all by himself just to get his. But I don't think they landed one punch, did they? they beat him up so bad that Ricky Starks was going to count, and then he was like, no, get him up. I want to beat him up some more. They literally toyed with them like they were jobbers wrestling for the trios titles against the Acclaimed. Like, this was like straight, like, this wasn't your phenomenal tag team that won the belts, had a good run, and was supposed to get some kind of like, thank you on the way out. No, Tony Khan wanted some ratings. Maybe FTR, slept with his wife. I don't know what they did, but either way, I'm assuming maybe when you respond, a little bit more to it. I know that they copyrighted CMFTR. I don't know if that means anything, especially since CM Punk does not look like he's coming back. But nonetheless, this was a squash match. It blew my mind. And this was kind of like what I was talking about with WWE, with Jay Uso and Cody Rhodes winning the tag team titles, that you're trying to get two guys to kind of get a singles push. I thought we were doing that with Ricky Starks. I thought what we were going to do with Ricky Starks and Big Bill was the Shawn Michaels and Diesel, two dudes with attitudes.
That's
Thank you very much.
Are they all right?
Gimmick. Yeah, right. Yep, right there. I see them. But yeah, man. And I thought they were going to do that. And they were tag team champions, so I get that they could still do that. But I don't know. Tag team champs, you literally just had a phenomenal tag team in Aussie Open, Russell FTR a week ago. If you wanted FTR to lose it, unless something happened in between then, why not Aussie Open? When Aussie Open is hot right now. Homeboy, one of the dudes wrestled Bryan Danielson. Phenomenal match. The dude's over. Aussie's over. They get huge pops. They get Aussie chants in the United States. Like, that's a big deal. Like, they are so over. To not have them win, to have Ricky Starks and Big Bill win. I know a lot of people are pumped about it. A lot of people think this is a huge opportunity for them. Maybe it is. I don't get the squash. I don't think it does anything for them moving forward. And then they claimed afterwards that FTR does not get a rematch whatsoever, which also makes me think maybe FTR is in deep water. I didn't research it. What say you, man? Are you feeling it? Do you want Ricky Starks to kind of have a solo? I mean, I wanted to see him with a solo title, not a tag team title.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted him to win the international championship or the TNT championship or something, but certainly not a tag team championship or one of the belts in ROH, something. But yeah, I don't. So apparently earlier in the week, FTR did copyright CMFTR, and apparently the rumors are saying that they did that for monetary purposes. So because they're not getting paid on any of the CMFTR shirts that sell and that kind of thing. So they did that for merch purposes. But then there's also rumors that, Cash Wheeler was arrested right before All In for the gun charges. And so maybe now he's going to be sentenced or something. So there was rumors spreading about that. And that was their way of writing them off TV. There were rumors that they're in hot water with AEW because of the CMFTR trademark and all that. And apparently they tweeted. It's been a busy week on Twitter. I don't even have Twitter. I just scout it.
Me neither. X, you mean X?
Yeah, X. But yeah, I have to go on X, and they tweeted that there's no contract dispute. Cash Wheeler's just injured, but FTR will be back, and they're AEW is their home. They just signed 5-year contract extensions, so they're not going anywhere. So I think they're chalking it up to an injury to Cash Wheeler, but I think there's more to it than that. I think there had to have been a reason why they got squashed. It felt like a random match. I mean, it was a random match. There was no build to it whatsoever. Just, hey, tonight on Collision, these 4 guys are going to go at it for the tag titles. Yay. And that's the build. So I don't know. I hate to see FTR go out like that in a match, in a squash match of all things, considering all the things that FTR has done. They allowed FTR or Dax Harwood pinned Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's the only person recently to pin MJF other than Wardlow in the last calendar year. And he just did that on like the 3rd or 4th episode of Collision when him and Adam Cole were going after the tag team titles. It was MJF that ate the pin. And then, they've had all these great matches with the Young Bucks, and now they're not even in the plans. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is a way. Maybe Tony Khan. Maybe we'll give him credit because we bashed his decision of having the Young Bucks win that #1 contendership match at WrestleDream. So maybe instead of us getting FTR and Young Bucks part 18, maybe now we get Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus the Young Bucks round 1.
Yeah.
So which could elevate Ricky Starks to a whole new level. So we'll see. Yeah. But I'll see where this goes. But I was not a fan of how it happened.
That's what I mean. I'm not going to crap on it completely, even though I thought Ricky Starks should have went solo and just had Big Bill being his muscle more so than them being a tag team. But the squash didn't have to happen. You could have had the power bomb through the table and injuries happen after, a 10 minutes into the match and having them kind of have a good outing. So I didn't get this. I don't think the squash does anything for either of them. So
no. And then for me, I want to talk about that was the opening match of Collision. I'll talk about the closing promo of one Adam Copeland making his AEW Collision debut. And, I thought the promo was fine. He was responding to Christian Cage earlier in the week when he dropped those 3 words that, shattered the internet last week, the GFY, when Adam Copeland was asking him about reuniting and becoming a tag team again, and let's be friends and let's do this. And this promo was good. It was fine. It was what it was. He was just talking about how Christian Cage is a dick, and he compared Nick Wayne to a Persian cat that gets pet all the time, and that Christian Cage is dressed like a Bond villain, and little good one-liners and stuff, and it was fine. And then Wardlow, or not Wardlow, but Luchasaurus came out, and him and Nick Wayne double teamed Christian Cage and took him out, and that's how the show ended. And I thought it was what it was. It really nothing too extreme happened, nothing too crazy happened. Darby Allin came out and made the save, so Darby Allin's back. So he came out and attacked Nick Wayne attacked Wardlow with a chair, and then stared down Nick Wayne because Nick Wayne turned on Darby Allin at Wrestle Dream to join
Luchasaurus, not Wardlow.
Right. I keep saying Wardlow. Yeah, Luchasaurus. He hit Luchasaurus with the chair. And then it was a little overbooked in my opinion. You could have had Darby Allin come out a little bit sooner. You didn't need Darby Allin to come out at all. You could have ended it with Christian Cage getting his ass kicked, really selling this match on Tuesday night. So I don't know. It was what it was. It was fine. It was a good way to introduce Christian I am losing it today. It's a good way to introduce Adam Copeland to the AEW Collision, and a good way to sell the match. So I thought it was a solid way to end the show.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'll get into more of how I feel about Adam Copeland, his start to AEW and chaotic finishes of the week with Collision and Dynamite when we get to Dynamite. So I know we're going to talk about it, and it's kind of the same feelings I have for both. But yeah, I agree. I thought it was well done. Anytime you have Adam Copeland and Christian there, I mean, it's going to work, right? So yeah. And it's Collision, and we were talking about this yesterday before we recorded, is that Collision is supposed to be SmackDown, and it doesn't feel like SmackDown. No. Collision just feels like another C show. So for that to happen at the end of it, it feels a little bit more impactful because Collision just doesn't feel important. But so I did appreciate it. But something I really, really appreciate is Jay White. Mm-hmm. I've liked Jay White. There's one thing I like, it's skinny dudes, and I don't mean that in a Max Caster type of way, but I dig skinny. I used to be a big boy. Now I'm trying to get skinny, or I think I'm okay skinny. But Jay White, I like the skinny wrestlers. I just think it's awesome to see these cut dudes like a Finn Balor and a Jay White, and they get to go up against these big steroided out dudes. But Jay White is, just a really good performer. He always has been. He came to AEW and had a big impact when he premiered, and then kind of got left in the back afterwards. And I like that now, since they've added the guns and now they're the Bullet Club Gold, more impactful with it and the guns up. I don't like the stupid cutout that they bring of him. I thought that was cool when he was gone. I don't know why they still bring it out. But since he stole MJF's belt, it has felt fun. He's felt more alive, and it feels like the old him from, New Japan and so on. And I am digging what he is doing. And this was another great promo with him. I like that he brought the belt out. I like that he called himself the champ. I like that Hangman Page came out to interfere and to get into his face. And he said, you know what? We couldn't go. We'll go again. But since I've beaten you 3 times already, you've never beaten me once, it'll be a non-title match. That stuff is funny. It's hilarious. And to be honest with you, it's really no different than CM Punk. I don't get why CM Punk was able to bring a title that he didn't have. I get that he was champion once, but that belt was already moved on from him from being basically suspended, and he came back and was the real champion. So why can't Jay White do the same exact thing. I don't get it. I don't get why he can. If anyone could just grab a belt and be champ, might as well let Jay White. But I like where they're going with it. And it's really, really, really making Jay White feel like a bigger star. And it's making the Bullet Club Gold feel like bigger stars. I mean, I don't think the Guns have ever felt this important, even when they were with the Acclaim. So I like it all. I think it's good stuff. And it continued on, which we'll talk about on Dynamite. So,
yeah, I'm digging it. At first, the Bullet Club it's got to grow on me. Yeah. And like, because to me, there's too much of the WWE stuff in there. You know, if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you: guns up. And and that's not even a knock on Bullet Club, because I mean they've been doing that for a long time. Like AJ Styles and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are members of the club in WWE. Yeah. Now they're the OC, but they do the 2 Sweet and everything too. And that's something that the Bullet Club has done in the past. So I want them to be themselves, and I want them to, you know, just be original with some of their stuff. But I'm digging what they're doing with Jay White. Jay White, this is why, you know, I wasn't too familiar with him like when he was a free agent and everything, but when he joined AEW, or he was with AEW before, and then his contract ran up. Yeah. And then he was rumored to be coming at the Raw after WrestleMania this year in the WWE.
He was, yeah.
And he never made that appearance. Instead, he came to the Dynamite after WrestleMania and made his debut. Now I see it. I see what everybody saw in him, and I'm loving what they're doing. He feels important. He can go in the ring. He's great on the mic. They're giving him time to really cook, and so you can tell that the AEW brass is fully behind him. So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious to see what they do. And this, you know, it's no different. You said it's no different than CM Punk. I think it's also no different than what Christian Cage was doing just a few weeks ago when he was carrying around a belt that wasn't his. When, you know, it was Luchasaurus's title and he was claiming to be the champion and all that. So it's fun stuff. I'm liking what they're doing with Jay White. I think MJF is going to make him. Both of them are going to shine in that match, and I can't wait to see it.
I agree. Bullet Club.
That's right.
Bullet Club. That's old school Bullet Club right there. But
yeah,
continue.
Yeah, that's the OG Bullet Club.
Well, remember, Bullet Club is just a ripoff of the NWO. Remember that. Yeah. That's why they do the 2 Sweet.
Yeah, that's why they do the 2 Sweet, because they know they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, 100%.
But the one thing I want to talk about is the crowd of AEW Collision, and you know the opening segment with Ricky Starks and Big Bill. You really could see there were not a lot of there were a lot of empty seats. And it was even on the side where the camera pans to, you know, Ricky Starks is high-fiving people in the arena. You know, the FTRs, you know, shaking people's hands in the arena, like tagging fans, and you can see them. You can see all the empty seats. Top row, you could see him on the hard camera side. It was really sad to see. Even when Adam Copeland came out at the end and he does his little run on one side. He only went to one side, and he normally goes to both sides of the stage. He was like, oh, okay. He was probably like, that side's completely empty. I'm not going over there. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, Collision with the crowd size and then some of the production stuff, it's just not clicking right now. And I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's Saturday. It's on a Saturday night, and it's in they were in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is not really known for its wrestling. I don't know, but there was just between this and there was just a lot of production stuff too. There were times where they even said, some people on the commentary, you guys have to bear with us. We're flying cold here. We're trying to figure everything out as we go along. Because they said that they were going to go to Bryan Danielson next against Aussie Open Kyle Fletcher, and they're like, "Oh no, the match is now." And, they were just completely thrown off. And then they're like, "Oh, we're going to talk about what happened with Powerhouse Hobbs on AEW Dynamite, and we're going to talk about Powerhouse Hobbs on AEW." And there's just a lot of little things like that. And then Adam Copeland next on Adam Copeland makes his AEW Collision debut. Oh wait, he's coming out now. Like, I don't know. Stuff just doesn't feel prepared. It feels, I don't know. The production value just has taken a complete nosedive, and the crowd size, I'm kind of getting worried about the state of AEW Collision.
I mean, once again, this is more I can talk about, but I can save it for our segment because I feel like it's the state of AEW. I just feel like how people are feeling. I think with Tony Khan, with everything else with how good WWE is kind of doing right now with their stars and so on. I think there's a reason Roman Reigns is back tonight. It's
the season premiere.
It is. And you know what? They're going up against Rampage. And let's see if Rampage could outdo them, They can do the million mark as Tony Khan is eager to hit. But I agree with you all. I heard the crowd was super flat. I heard it was super empty.
Yeah.
I think I saw Fox or somebody advertising about how as soon as Roman Reigns was announced, there was 9,000 tickets sold on SmackDown, like right after Roman Reigns, which is like more than what they had at that event. So I think they're once again throwing shots at each other and so on. So I don't know, but we'll get more into that. But I fully agree with you. And the production has been sloppy. You know what I mean? They had the moment where they had Adam Cole's whole segment with no volume, and they continue to run it. So I mean, if there's no volume, no one notice that. There's no one in the back working. Maybe it's Tony Khan. Maybe he's too busy tweeting while he's doing the production sets. I have no idea, but we'll get into that soon. But let's get into Dynamite now. You ready?
Yes, sir.
From Saturday to Wednesday, or Saturday to Tuesday, and this was their big. Let's go. I don't even know why it was big for them because they were going up against WWE's C show, NXT.
Third brand.
This was their third brand. Yeah, the developmental. And I want to talk about a certain somebody who I feel is just probably right now the AEW MVP, I think, and that's Mr. Christian Cage. And this episode, I think, really punches in the point. And as the Patrick said, that we can still call him Edge. So our producer, our other producer, our executive is allowing us to call him Edge and not Adam Copeland. But I think this once again solidifies my feelings that I've always had since the Attitude Era was around, that Christian Cage is better than Edge, or greater than. As I do my HBK greater than, this is Christian Cage greater than. And I think this solidified it. I think Edge in his match, which we'll get into, but Christian Cage opens up the show with a promo in the production set. And I didn't like that he said, this is going to be the greatest Dynamite ever. Once again, that's not how you push a rivalry. Or if you have to say it, guess what, y'all? It ain't true. So he had to say that. But other than that, he cut a fantastic promo about how he's this and that and the best. And people are this. And these production people need to listen to him. And I'm going to say that we have a half an hour of no commercials and commercial free for the half an hour. Start it up, you idiots, or whatever he said. And the thing starts off. And then he cut another promo later on, in which Edge then started his match right beforehand. But this promo, I mean, it's just talking about the history of them, going back to what I was saying, that I was the better of us two, but yeah, you got the push, talking about Judgment Day, how he wanted a group of friends, and I have a group of basically killers, I think is what he said, or something in that context with Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne, that there's just two different people. And then he had to bring up Beth Phoenix, of course, and Edge's kids, about how they need to get those, sheets ready because daddy is coming home. Our new daddy is coming home. And that led to Edge wobbling out. It looked like he was 75 years old when he ran to the ring. But yeah, led to Edge coming out. But Christian Cage, I mean, tell me he's not. I know MJF's on fire right now. I know Bryan Danielson is booking himself to have a victory every single week. I know that, yeah, you heard me right. I know that, Jay White's killing it right now. The Acclaimed are still, whatever. But, dude, I got to tell you, Christian Cage is the MVP, is he not, of AEW right now? I mean, is he not carrying this company on his shoulders right now?
Oh, yeah. He is killing it. He is the face of the company right now, and he's the face of TNT. And he's bringing he's doing exactly what I was hoping he would do with the TNT Championship, and that's bring some relevance and prestige back to it. And he's making that title feel important, but at the same time, I also want him to hold on to it forever because he's just so good in his current role. I've heard people say it before, but this is literally the best he's ever been in his entire career. This is the best run of his career. He's been great in the WWE when he wanted one more match, and he was a great heel when, him and Trish Stratus were shacking up in the love triangle with Chris Jericho and all that. All that stuff was good, but
Edge and Christian,
Kurt Angle, the stuff with Edge and Christian, the Kurt Angle stuff, all of it, good stuff. But this is a whole nother level, and I think he's not held down by the PG rating either. So now he can really unleash some chaos in AEW, and he's doing it. He's talking about dead fathers. He's talking about children, tucking in children at night, and being their new daddy, and just all these great things. And Edge is Adam Copeland's supposed to be one of his best friends, and he doesn't care about anybody. So to me, it's like him and MJF have switched bodies, because now Christian Cage is the biggest scumbag in AEW, and MJF is the good guy who works hard and wants his Triple B back. So
I agree.
I'm loving what they're doing with Christian.
And I want to say before you go into yours is that Christian Cage will go down as the greatest heel ever in this business. I'm going to say it right now. Better than Piper, better than whoever else you have on your list. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I'm telling you, Christian Cage will go down as the greatest heel ever.
I can see that. Yeah,
his promo skills are like flawless. They're smooth. They're effortless. Just everything about him, what he talks about, how disgusting he is. His matches are amazing. Dude is the GOAT. So
I can see him. Yeah, he's good. He's really good, and he's a great babyface too. But his heel work is phenomenal.
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of MJF, I want to talk about the Jay White MJF segment that we had on Dynamite, and I liked it up to a certain point. I liked it until MJF Jay White had a match with Adam Page, and he went 4-0 now against Adam Page, so he got yet another big victory, which I thought was a great match and a great way. I mean, AEW, their history, I was worried they were going to have Jay White take an L just because that's what they do, and they didn't do that, and they had Adam Page, or they had Jay White go 4-0. It was great stuff, and then he cuts a promo afterwards talking about how people don't want to hear from MJF, they want to hear from JAY. It was just all this good stuff, and then MJF came out and he wants his Triple B back. He was like, I gave you the match at Full Gear. Now give me back my Triple B. I know you better than you know yourself. I was you. I've used people. I've abused people. Those guys in the ring are using you. It was just all great stuff. And, AEW has done a great job. I'm invested in this match with Jay White and MJF. I can't wait for November 18th at Full Gear. They've done a fantastic job, and they have about another month of build for this too. So I'm pretty pumped up about it, and they're cleaning my gutters. Yeah, they're cleaning my gutters out. So if you hear any noise outside, that's what it is. But yeah, they're I'm digging what they're doing. And then they gave the microphone to Juice Robinson, and that's when this segment completely fell apart for me. And I think that it kind of took the crowd out of it a little bit too. So Juice Robinson he grabbed the microphone and he says, "Hey, next week there's a Dynamite Diamond Dozen Battle Royal on
Diamond Ring.
Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal.
Diamond Ring,
next week for your ring, and I'm gonna take it from you. And then he held up a thing of quarters with his name on it and said, I'm gonna hit you in the head with these quarters, and these quarters have Friedman written on them." It was just a lowbrow, but that's what Juice Robinson does. So I didn't really take offense to it. MJF had to be behind it, but he's talked openly about how he was bullied with quarters, and he was told to pick up those quarters by anti-Semites, and then they would hit him in the head with quarters and attack him, and he was bullied when he was younger. And it just in the climate that we're in, with everything happening in Israel, and thoughts up to those people that are going through everything out there, it just felt like a little lowbrow, tone deaf segment for AEW to allow on TV so soon after their match. And it kind of took the crowd out of it. MJF was passionate about it. He was like, if you come near me with those quarters, I'll end your life. And so it brought out some more passion and everything, but the segment was fine. He didn't need Juice Robinson to say anything. It was fine the way it was. It just, to me, him adding to it, just, I don't know, it flattened it for me.
And I agree. And I think a lot of people might have missed it, not thinking that that's something that people would do to bully, people of, who are in Judaism and so on, and the Jewish community. And I think Taz was at a loss of words when it was said. He didn't even know what to say, and he was kind of like, when he was a kid, remember, he was like, people would hit him with quarters, and now he's really upset. I think it was just really bad, especially right now that they're stating that, I mean, the number of Jewish people who are being murdered right now is,
it's
the worst ever. It's closing in on like the Holocaust and so on like that. So I don't know how we're even referencing anything like that, especially from someone like Tony Khan, who prides himself in being this diverse, human being and so on. And you were talking about MJF. Speaking of diversity, you didn't bring up the Acclaim part.
Oh yeah.
That he had with Max Caster in the back. And once again, just to follow you guys in, Max Caster and MJF did start up in the industry together. Max Caster is an openly gay male, and MJF, I don't think is bisexual, but who knows? And they've always, I think he's a straight man, right? I don't know. He never has a girl. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever he is, it is what it is. But Max Caster, since day one of AEW, day one, I'm talking when he was like a heel, when he got like suspended for saying inappropriate things, rapping, has always tweeted MJF. Like MJF used to post things when he was getting in shape, and Max Caster would do like stitch or whatever. Is it stitching in Twitter? I don't know what it is, but he would like write things and put retweet, ooh lunch, or like ooh I need that dinner. I wish I could pull them all up, but he's always done it. And then MJF always wrote things like stalker or I need to get a restraining order. It's always been a running gag. So I think it's kind of cool now that they're bringing it back. I did like that last week when they talked about it. They didn't like it because they just kind of threw it out of the blue. And even you were like, what the heck? But now this week they kind of talked about it, where Max Caster was like, no. We grew up together. We're best friends. And I love that he's playing hard to get. I didn't like that he looked in the camera and broke like the fourth wall to say it. But Acclaimed and MJF, yes, please.
Yeah, bring
my money. So those are like my two sign me up, please. I would love to get an Acclaimed MJF scumbags.
Yeah.
I would like the Acclaimed to get a little bit darker again too with their raps and with MJF. Oof. Yes,
I like I like that they that Max Caster keeps trying to scissor with MJF, and MJF like, I'm not scissoring. Yeah. Like it's funny stuff. And
he didn't say no this week with the tagging though. With he's like, hey, you need people to back you up. Warrior Huckleberry.
Because Jay White said, find 3 people who can stand you, and we'll face you anytime, anywhere. And then, but even Billy Gunn, I like that there's a little bit of, it's not just, hey, yeah, we'll fight with you. Even Billy Gunn's like, hey, who are you to make decisions like that for us? And have you this guy? Like, why are you, why are you making? And then so I like what they're doing. I'm all for the Acclaimed and MJF teaming up. And if it brings back, imagine Adam Cole coming back into this, and now you have a little bit of jealousy between the Acclaimed and Adam Cole. You have jealousy between MJF and Roderick Strong and his friendship with Adam Cole. So this adds a whole new wrinkle to it. So keep it up. I'm down for this.
And speaking of Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, that stuff was garbage this week. Sorry. It was the same exact thing. I mean, I know they recorded it all at the same time, but that was trash. So
that was not good.
I thought it was stupid. I don't good one. And Adam Cole looks like a freaking moron. So, and it looks like they're going to continue on to next week because he said one more thing. But yes, and Jay White, I already said is gold. So
yes.
All right. I want to talk about back-to-back things because a lot happened on Dynamite, and I want to talk about my boy Swerve when I drive. Swerve when I drive. Swerve when I drive. Swerve. I love that he's doing it, and Swerve just like looks at him and is like, I'm like, Swerve, that's working. That's what's making you bigger. But I want to talk about Swerve taking an L to Bryan Danielson, and I want to talk about Chris Jericho getting squashed by Powerhouse Hobbs, and because I kind of compare them as the same. So we talked about it last week when Swerve and Bryan Danielson were going to wrestle. We said, no matter what, one of them are going to take an L. Or both of them are going to take an L, actually, because whoever loses this is going to take an L, and whoever faces Christian Cage is going to take an L. So you had Swerve Strickland, who's coming off his biggest win with Hangman Page, probably the first upper-tier wrestler he's wrestled in his time in AEW, because once again, WWE guys are never pushed correctly in AEW, and you have this guy come off Hangman Page in a huge win to have him just lose to Bryan Danielson in a match. It was, I'm not mad at Bryan Danielson winning, because you can't have Swerve versus Christian Cage. That doesn't make any freaking sense. 2 top heels right now. But why even have Swerve in it? It's not like Swerve beat Hangman Page for that moment. Put anybody else in that. Have Bryan Danielson wrestle Penta again. Like, why are you like having Swerve Strickland take an L right now? Dude, has he ever won 2 in a row? Dude cannot gather up victories, solo victories, if his life was on the line. And I thought it made no sense. Then you have him come out later on, which we'll probably talk about, and help out in a beatdown. And it just doesn't feel like you just got your ass kicked. Like now you're, I don't know.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind on what they're doing with Swerve Strickland. You push him to the moon, talk about him being the first ever black AEW world champion, have him beat Hangman Page. You're like, all right, all aboard the choo-choo train. He's like being booked like Judgment Day, where it's like, here's your win. Now give it back. I just don't get it. And it's the same thing with Jericho and Hobbs. I have no problem with Hobbs beating Chris Jericho. What I have a problem with is Powerhouse Hobbs squashing Chris Jericho on the third match of a Dynamite that nobody watched. And when I say nobody watched, I mean nobody watched, because we'll talk about the ratings later. And it's like, who's going to remember that? Unless they continue talking about it and Powerhouse Hobbs keeps bringing it up or makes a shirt. You had a moment where Powerhouse Hobbs, who hasn't really had many big victories, beat possibly the greatest of all time, at least in Patrick's eyes, the greatest of all time, in like 2 minutes in a squash match, putting him into the hospital, and you have it not on a pay-per-view, not as a main event of Rampage or Collision, something that like people, you had an hour and a half of television after this. It makes zero sense. The squash was stupid. His goat. The squash was stupid. Both of them. The right people won. I get it. It's the execution that I don't like. Swerve shouldn't have lost. He doesn't need an L right now, so he shouldn't have been in the match. And Jericho doesn't need to take a squash match as a third match of a Dynamite that no one cared about. So
I'll take it a step further, and I don't think Bryan Danielson should have been in that match either, because can he really afford I mean, you have him beating Ricky Starks, you have him beating
everybody.
Zack Sabre Jr. At every pay-per-view. He just beat the guy from Aussie Open. And now, is he going to beat Christian Cage on Saturday at Collision for the TNT Championship, or is he going to lose? Is there but again, this match, Swerve Strickland actually made sense to win, because as Christian Cage said in his opening promo that, Swerve, you did cost me.
I see
you cost me and Luchasaurus our tag match against Sting and Darby Allin at All In Wembley. So I hope I face you. But no, it turns out he's facing Bryan Danielson. And again, it just feels random. Like, where has the build been for Bryan Danielson and Christian Cage? They haven't really had any interactions with each other until the end of Dynamite this week. And I didn't think this match, I get what they were doing. They were trying to open it up and compete with NXT. And so let's have Bryan Danielson, the former WWE guy, and Swerve Strickland, the Shane Strickland from WWE. Let's have them. Let's show the WWE what they're missing. But the match was fine, but the wrong person won. I think Swerve Strickland should have won. Continue his upward track in AEW. Have him beat Adam Page. Now he beats Bryan Danielson. Now he has a damn good close match, a close call against Christian Cage. Like, continue his upward trajectory, but instead they're just. I don't know where does he go from here? What happens from here? That's the thing I don't like about it. And then Powerhouse Hobbs, I actually like the squash. I just wish that it went on a little too long for it to be like, it was just Jericho got no offense in, and I wish that it went on a way too long for my liking. Like, if you're going to squash him, squash him. Don't have it be like a 6-minute squash match. Just go in there and do the Wardlow treatment. Go in there and powerbomb him 18 times and then leave. And show that you're not messing around anymore. So I was okay. I was okay with Jericho jobbing to Powerhouse Hobbs. It made Hobbs look like a monster.
I agree with ZWC Sports right here, saying Hobbs' win reminds him of the time Fandango had over Jericho almost a decade ago. Same thing. It was at Mania. Fandango basically just like destroyed Jericho, and what happened? Placement of the card, where it was, and nothing came up. Once again, you can't do a squash of a great like that in the middle of a card or the third like it's Jericho himself said, you either go first or last. If you don't, nobody cares. So why approve yourself being jobbed and squashed by Hobbs on the third match of a night that nobody watched? So at least Fandango was at Mania, but I think the same thing's going to happen. I agree. I think Hobbs nothing will come of this. Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Bad part.
Yeah, because now you don't. What do you do with Swerve Strickland? What do you do with Powerhouse Hobbs? I don't know. Maybe it leads to him versus Omega. I don't know. But we shall see. And then we'll get into some more stuff with Dynamite in our segment with the Tuesday Night Wars, because we got a lot of stuff that we want to get off our chest about that. But I want to end it with Adam Copeland's debut match against Luchasaurus, and I love Edge. He's one of my all-time favorites. He's an all-time great. And this match didn't do it for me. I was excited about it. I thought it was going to be a banger. Edge can bring it. Edge can still go at 49 years old, 9 years away from the industry, and he's had great matches with Seth Rollins. He's had great matches with Finn Balor. He had a great match with Austin Theory. His last match against Sheamus was fantastic. He's had some great stuff in the WWE in his last run. The stuff with Randy Orton was phenomenal, but this match, and I get it was his first match. It's a different environment, and it's against a guy he's never really faced before. He has no chemistry with, no history with, but just everything just felt off. Like even his he didn't get his full entrance because he just ran out and as soon as his music played to go attack Christian Cage, even though Christian Cage got out of it before Edge could lay a hand on him. And then Nick Wayne grabbed him by the foot and was like, no, don't go in there. Don't go in there. And it was just the whole thing. And then everyone was talking about the move of the night, which was that spear that he did off of the steps and into the ramp. But even that you could tell that like he missed half of that spear. Mm-hmm. So I don't like to criticize people in the ring and everything, because I've never been in the ring. I've never taken a bump, and I'm sure it's hard work, and you have what they do is dangerous and it's entertaining. And so I'm not here to criticize it, but this match just didn't do it for me. It felt off, and maybe it was nerves. Maybe he was legit nervous. Maybe it was a little bit of, different style, different environment in AEW. I don't know, but this match just didn't do it for me. And then all the stuff at the end with the brawls of all of us. Now we have a feud between the BCC and Christian Cage and his cronies, and now we're having Swerve Strickland's back, and he's going after Adam Page, but Adam Page just had a thing with the BCC, but they're all working. All of it felt way overbooked and just too much happening at one time. And it ends with, of course, Bryan Danielson having Christian Cage in the label lock, and you can see Christian Cage tapping out, and nobody's there to stop it, because that's how Dynamite ends. So yeah, the last 15-20 minutes or so of Dynamite, including Edge's match and all the shenanigans at the end, just did not do it for me at all.
Yeah, and you know what that means for Bryan Danielson, right? You're losing. Dun, 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 dun. But anyway, I gotta agree with you, and I'm not comparing this anything to Edge's age, because I think Edge can go another 5 years easily. I'm comparing this to Edge's last match against Sheamus. Do you remember it? It was like a month ago?
Yeah, maybe 2 months ago. Yeah.
And so a month ago, that match was a banger. So do I blame Luchasaurus? Do I blame the fact that AEW has freedom on booking their own matches? Either way, it was a dud. I think this was a cold part. And this is what I wanted to get to with Edge's AEW. His promos have been lackadaisical. And once again, I'm not saying that Edge needs to have a script, but I think some people, it works better. And he's been doing it for 20 years where he's been told, this is what you're going to say. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And now having the freedom of saying what he wants, maybe that's throwing him off. Not saying he can't do it. What I'm saying is that he's not used to it, right? And his match with Luchasaurus was whack. And I didn't like the announcers in this match. They were talking about his neck. They were talking about how, like, can Edge still go?
This could be his first match and his last match in AEW.
Are you guys idiots? He literally came back 4 years ago, correct? From his neck. Like, what are you guys what are you guys talking about over here? Like, now his neck's a problem. Like, what are you doing? Like, you act like WWE didn't happen. This dude has been around. Don't treat him like, why are you going to treat him like an old man? That's how you want Edge to look? You want Edge to come back as the old man, or do you want him to look like somebody who can be a threat, beat MJF, destroy Christian, beat some people? No, you have him look weak to Luchasaurus. You have him have his neck be hurt. You have him saying that he might retire. I thought all of it was awful. I didn't like any of it. I didn't like the rumble at the end. I didn't like the I once again, which we're about to get into, and just the way it's being booked. every single time reminds me of WCW, and it drives me freaking nuts. Yeah. So the chaotic ending, everyone brawling, none of it making sense. Let's throw everybody out there. It's just, I don't know. I did not like the way, and I know everybody was like Dynamite and NXT were great shows. I disagree. So yeah. I mean, Dynamite had some good matches and they had some good things. I'm not saying it was bad, but I'm just saying it wasn't. This wasn't what you needed if you were considering this a war.
It ended the exact same way that SmackDown ended last week. You know, you had a beatdown between the Judgment Day, LA. It was LA Knight, John Cena, Jimmy Uso, Cody Rhodes standing tall against Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and all of the Judgment Day, and they just were going at it, and that's how SmackDown. So it was just very but at least that made some sense. There was some story there and some history. Yeah, there. This was just like, hey, who's back here and has a pulse? Get out there and get in the ring and go and beat down. Go beat somebody up. Go attack the ref or something. Go do something.
Who's back here and has a pulse? I love it.
Who's breathing back here? Go out there. But yeah, I didn't care for the ending. It was just all of it.
Me neither.
It was way too much.
I agree. All right, that was AEW. You ready?
Let's do it, man. Let's get into it.
You ready for our segment? So our segment might go a little while. Let's see. Is all about the Tuesday night wars. So I'm gonna let my man bring up a whole bunch of points, say his speech, and then I'll respond, and we'll see how this goes. So Shooting Star Press, let's go. What happened this week in the Tuesday night wars? I'm saying it like that because I'm doing air quotes, but continue.
So yeah, AEW had to move from Wednesday to Tuesday this week for one night only because of baseball playoffs. And so they went against NXT head to head with the C Show, the third brand of the WWE, on Tuesday night. And
their A show.
Yeah, their A show. Their A show went against the C Show. And both shows started at 8, and both shows were going to run until around 10. And then all of a sudden NXT said, the first 30 minutes of NXT on Tuesday night will be commercial free. And so Tony Khan then came out and tweeted that the first 30 minutes of AEW Dynamite will be commercial free. So then they're like, oh, okay, we see you. You will take that and we'll raise you. And then all of a sudden Cody Rhodes has a major announcement on NXT, and that's going to open up NXT. He's going to open up with his big announcement. And then all of a sudden NXT started teasing John Cena, The Undertaker, Asuka, who else was there?
LA Knight.
Yeah, LA Knight, but he wasn't announced, but the Judgment Day. Yeah. So
the Judgment, yeah.
It was just, so they basically packed their entire show full of legends for NXT to compete with AEW Dynamite. And Dynamite opened with wrestling. That's what they're known to do. They opened with Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, and then the next match was the Jericho Hobbs match, I think it was, and then or
no, that was third.
Yeah, right? I think you're right. I think it was third. Yeah, there was. I can't remember what the match was afterwards. It was a short match, whatever it was. It was a long match with Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, and then there was 2 short matches.
Oh no, you're right. That was Danielson Strickland, and then Samoa Joe.
He did his
going to fight for the
segment.
championship. Yeah. Jericho and Hobbs. And then Orange Cassidy, which we didn't talk about, winning the title because Jon Moxley couldn't go, which I also thought was weird. Why announce Jon Moxley if you weren't sure he was going to be able to, once again, what the hell are you doing to TK? Was that on purpose?
I'm sure it was.
That's amateur shit. You don't announce stuff unless you know 100% they can go. Because why not push Orange Cassidy? He's just as big as a star. That pop was humongous when he won. So I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So continue. Yeah.
So NXT, it was very legends heavy. I mean, The Undertaker came out at the end and powerbombed and chokeslammed Braun Breaker. John Cena had a moment with Braun as well. They cut a promo against each other. Carmelo Hayes got the John Cena rub. Cody Rhodes was backstage talking to the tag champs. And yeah, there's just a lot. Asuka beat Roxanne Perez in a one-on-one match on. So it was very legends and main roster heavy on NXT, and I felt AEW did a good job of making their show pretty wrestler heavy. But I think where AEW messed up, in my opinion, is there was no Kenny Omega on the show. There was no Young Bucks on the show. The Acclaimed, your most over act in wrestling, was relegated to a backstage segment with MJF, nonetheless. But still, they didn't have a match on the show. They didn't get to cut a rap or anything. Where you imagine what they could have said about the Tuesday Night Wars and some of the stuff about NXT. Like, it would have been phenomenal. Your Sammy Guevara wasn't there. John Moxley wasn't there. Jungle Boy is still suspended. So you have your pillars. Where was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD? There was a lot of your pillars and the people that you helped build the company were nowhere to be seen on the show. And then Tony Khan did random title changes, like Orange Cassidy winning back the international championship, and Sheeta, who we didn't talk about as well, ended Soraya's 25, I think it was 35-day reign as women's champion in AEW, but randomly with no build yet again. So just to stick it to WWE, they had to have 2 title changes. So they had 3 title changes in a weekend, if you include Powerhouse or Big Bill and Ricky Starks winning the tag titles over FTR. So it was just a lot of chaos, a lot of chaos, and a lot of just. It was too much. NXT was overkill. I thought AEW was a little overkill. They didn't go to commercial break until 8:47. NXT went to commercial break at 8:29. It was just, it was like, anything you can do, I can do better. But at the end of the day, I think AEW, in my opinion, did a better job of advancing stories. What's going to happen next with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland? What's next with Jay White and MJF? What about Adam Cole and all that stuff? What's next for Powerhouse Hobbs? What's next for Chris Jericho after the beatdown that he took? So there's a lot of good stories that are being told. NXT, I don't really feel like they didn't do anything to make me watch next week. But the numbers are in. NXT blew AEW out of the water. 921,000 viewers tuned in for NXT and 609,000 tuned in for AEW. So NXT reigns supreme on the Tuesday Night War. But at the end of the day, 1.5 million people tuned in to watch professional wrestling on a Tuesday night, and it was a good night. It was fun. It was a fun night, but NXT was the better show, in my opinion.
And what happened after?
Well, before, there was a lot of tweets from one TK. He was tweeting, people were going at him about Shawn Michaels being Booker of the Year, and somebody sent him something about an AI image of Shawn Michaels holding a Booker of the Year trophy, and he responded on Twitter that 10 out of 10 after watching Dynamite, you won't believe that he's the Booker of the Year, because wait until you see what we have for him. And then he referred to Triple H and Shawn Michaels as bald assholes. And then he took shots at Vincent Kennedy McMahon. But after the ratings came out, instead of being like, hey, we had a great night, it was a great night of wrestling, instead of taking the loss on the chin, because at the end of the day, you did kind of made NXT bring it. You had to make them bring it to compete with you. And you could have done that. You could have taken it on the chin, but also made it a positive for your company. But instead, he tweeted that let me see if I'm trying to find it right in front of me, but he tweeted that it's the first time that The Undertaker and John Cena have been on a show that drew less than 1 million views. So, 2 streaks came to an end on NXT. And that was his tweet. It wasn't a congratulations to WWE, or it wasn't a, we're going to use this as motivation to get better. It was just a kind of an immature tweet from one Tony Khan. So, and then this morning he tweeted again that, I have this one right in front of me, but this morning he tweeted that this weekend marks 1 year since the Mayo Clinic saved my mom's life. And during her ordeal, many AEW talent came to me alleging WWE tampering, inducing them to break their contracts. I'll never forget these phone calls at her side in the hospital. It's when business became personal for me. This is nothing new. I mentioned it last year after she came home. It's relevant today because she checked in for surgery 1 year ago today. And as I've mentioned several times since, Mayo Clinic are heroes, and thanks to them, her recovery from a very grim outlook has been a miracle. And then people went at him again, and He said, "Not that I should be surprised, but the same WWE avatar accounts that spam me every day, no matter what I say or what it's about, now turning their wrath to my mom recovering from a near-death experience is why I straight hate these people to the bottom of my heart with all my soul." So that is direct from the fingers of one Anthony Rafiq Khan down in Jacksonville, Florida, tweeting about the Monday Night Wars, basically saying why he's been taking shot after shot after shot at the WWE on Twitter.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a freaking ton to talk about. Number one, the Patrick just wrote, it should be impressive that AEW is even competing with WWE.
Exactly.
Patrick, I love you, man. I love you, but they aren't competing with WWE. So I know you said exactly and you defended it, but they aren't competing with WWE. Here's the thing.
But that's how he should have looked at it. Like, yes, hey, this was a positive for us. We'll take it and run with it. And
yeah.
And then that's it. Don't say anything else. Just keep your mouth shut after that.
And in no way, shape, or form have ever and will be ever AEW be competing with WWE. They never will. They're not going to have an NWO moment. And here's, I just want to get that out of the way before I go on my rant, is that people have to remember this, is that WWE is on their own universe. And I don't want to say that as like the WWE universe, but they are in their own world, their own universe. They're on their own. They're not, it's not even close. It's not like the WWE and AEW, like AEW doesn't hit a million ever. WWE's 2 shows hit over 1 million every single week. I think SmackDown does 2 million. These aren't like, it's not like we're over here. And if you want to go to it, adding in everything else with sponsorship and viewership and product and merch buys and adverts, everything about the WWE, they're on a whole nother level. Streaming, they're not on the same spectrum. And here's the thing. I'm gonna call after the show to clarify. What I'm saying is that that's the number one thing I'm sick of AEW. So we have 3 people, right? We have WWE, I'm going to say it, nut huggers. I'm not going to say fanboys, nut huggers. We have AEW, nut huggers. And then we have people in the middle who just enjoy wrestling. And I know Patrick and maybe other people will be like, you're a WWE nut hugger. I'm not. I have AEW shirts. I go to AEW events. I support AEW. I talk about it weekly. I diss them just as much as I diss WWE. I try my best to see it as equal. But what's not equal is AEW and WWE. So everyone shut up about that. It's not a fact. They're not in the same spectrum. So with that said, this is how I want to compare that. Okay. Dynamite is the A show of AEW. NXT is the C show of WWE. AEW airs on Wednesdays. It was moved to Tuesday, which NXT airs on. Okay. They got their ass kicked. The end. I don't care what Tony Khan wants to say. They got their ass kicked. Yeah. That's with Edge's first ever. If Edge can't get some freaking viewership, you're doing shit wrong. People would rather go see John Cena talk than have Edge's first match in AEW. So this is the same thing. Imagine, will you? Rampage is AEW's C show. Okay. They're on Fridays. Monday Night Raw is WWE's A show. Imagine if Raw, for whatever reason, maybe USA had a dog show or something. That's usually when Monday Night Raw gets moved. So Monday Night Raw had to move to Fridays. Let's just pretend SmackDown got moved to Thursday. Let's just pretend everything got shifted and we had Monday Night Raw versus Rampage. Okay? Are you going to tell me right now that Rampage, they have Edge on it? They have Adam Cole on it. They bring back legends. They have Tony Khan, I don't know, bending over and taking it from MJF. They have a whole bunch of stuff that you can do to bring it up into whatever you need to do against Monday Night Raw. And you're going to tell me that the ratings are going to be just like this? That Rampage is going to beat Monday Night Raw? No, Monday Night Raw is going to do 1.5 million viewerships and Rampage is going to do 100,000. So that's what I'm trying to get at, is the differences between the two companies, that they're not on the same, they're not even in the same universe at all. I don't care. And that's not a dog on AEW. WWE has been around since when? WWE has already been through a war. And that's what now I want to get into. Tony Khan's stupid tweets. Tony Khan, your foot, what's this? It was like trying to compare WWE Impact. Yes, thank you. 100% it was. It is so stupid. They are that. And here's the thing. I'm not fanboy. It's not WWE. It's Tony Khan. Tony Khan he used the word hate. You want to talk about right now what's happening to the Jewish community right now and that it's awful? You know who hated? You know who basically created hate? Hitler. Hitler created hate because he hated somebody so bad that he did such vicious and disgusting things towards one type of person. Hate is the worst word, in my opinion, you can literally say. I teach my kids that all the time. If they say anything, I hate spaghetti. You don't hate spaghetti. You don't like spaghetti. You dislike spaghetti. You don't say the word hate. How can you if you have hate in your bones, then something is truly wrong with you. You need more love in you. You do not hate ever. Ever. I teach my kids that in school as well. You do not hate. For Tony Khan to say, I hate those people, Tony Khan, grow the fudge up. Grow up, dude. You are a billionaire. You are living. This is why your football team sucks. And this is why your organization is going to drown. Now, with that said, okay, Tony Khan ran his mouth about all these tweets, okay? I said day one that AEW was trying to be WCW. I got a lot of shit from AEW hardcores. Even friends on TikTok gave me shit. That's stupid. You're being typical. Why? Because they're both on TNT. And 100%. They're both on TNT. They're stealing aging stars from WWE to make their brand look better. And they have young stars like Goldberg, Sting, and other people trying to get pushed up. And they are trying to compare against the WWE, trying to start wars. If you don't believe me, watch Cody Rhodes sledgehammer a freaking king's throne on the first episode of Dynamite ever. They wanted to go to war. Here's the difference, right? When Eric Bischoff went to war against WWE and started making the mistakes, that was the downfall, in my opinion, of WCW. They were winning. They were winning, Shooting Star. Winning. Yeah. They weren't losing every week. They weren't not. WCW was winning. They were doing better in merchandising sales. They were doing way better in ratings. They were doing better in everything, attendance, people who were going to, they were winning. It's like Tony Khan with the stupid attendance thing on his show. It didn't beat anything at WWE. He literally bought tickets to make it beat. He is a freaking child. And I love AEW and I want it to thrive. But we need to go back to what the point of why was AEW built, Shooting Star Press? Why did Cody Rhodes? Yeah. Thank you. Why did Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, you know what I mean, and Kenny Omega create not Tony Khan. Tony Khan didn't do shit. What did those four men do to create AEW? And this is the kind of shit that's going to hurt them. I'm sorry, but your A show losing to a C show is embarrassing. I don't care if it's a Tuesday night or not. I don't care what anybody says. So I just wanted to get that. I can get hit up. Everyone can attack me. I'm going to do it on TikTok as well.
Changing your name anyway. So
I'm just, what does it matter? But honestly, I'm just so over it. And I'm so over fans comparing the two. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, just enjoy wrestling. I'm just saying that they're not comparable. So stop. And the main person is Tony Khan. Triple H and Vince aren't doing this shit. They're responding. They're reacting. Stop, Tony Khan. Shut up. Do your organization. Hand the reins over to somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, a la Mox, Bryan Danielson, Adam Copeland, your trainers in the back, anybody, and shut up and keep doing what you need to do and write the check. So that's all you can do. With that said, what else? With the shows comparing, I thought they both tried too hard. I thought it was two disappointing episodes. And to be honest with you, I thought AEW would hit 600,000 no matter what. So what AEW, someone needs to change TK's Twitter password. They really do. It's embarrassing. Does he drink a lot? Is he a drinker?
There's rumors that he does the booger sugar, but
that makes okay.
I don't know if that's ever been confirmed.
I don't want to start anything. I hate rumors, but I'm just saying that obviously because I've had a few drinks before too, and people write up a comment on me on TikTok, and I'm like, why I oughta, and then I don't. I pull it away because I know it's forever. Got to learn to not. He's like becoming the new Dana White, which is weird because Vince McMahon should be the new Dana White, where he's basically single-handedly trying to ruin his own company by writing stupid shit. Be a professional. Once again, you don't see the commissioner of the NFL, of the NBA, of baseball writing stupid tweets about this and trying to compare themselves to other people and dissing people who write in your comments. Tony Khan, you are a billionaire. You probably have people who wipe your ass for you, and you're literally fighting fanboys who are literally writing stupid things just to get you going. Grow up. I don't even do that. Grow up. But with that said, both try too hard. NXT just brought a whole bunch of old people back to try to push some ratings. AEW just tried to stack it with title changes, and Shida shouldn't have won. Stupid. Stupid. Orange Cassidy should have been advertised. Stupid. And just everything else. So I just thought it was just a bunch of hogwash. I thought this was AEW's time to say, we don't care. And that's what I thought they should have done. I thought they should have ignored it, did their damn thing, ran a perfect program, kept all their storylines going, did their rating, and moved on with their life. So people wouldn't have made this a big deal. But instead, you have your owner making it a big deal, and it shouldn't have been, because there is no competition. The end. There isn't. There's no competition. So stop making it one. Stop saying you hate people. Hate is an awful word. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. I want AEW to be successful, and I've been in the camp of Tony Khan in the past, but right now, with the attendance records that we were talking about just not too long ago with Collision, the attendance numbers being down, and just the production quality of Collision itself, and then and then all of the stuff that he's tweeting about and going at the WWE and talking about bald assholes and all these other things. Just, it's time for him to hand the reins over to somebody else. And I don't think it should be a wrestler. I think they need to go and get a Freddie Prinze Jr. or somebody along those lines to come in, and
Freddie would kill it in AEW.
Yeah. Run the writing team. Like, okay, we're going to give you a storyline. You're going to have a storyline. Everything's going to be storyline driven. Bring Eric Bischoff in to consult something. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there right now, but Freddie Prinze Jr. would be perfect. And, he needs to do something, because it's AEW. I want it to be successful. I want it to be the alternative. And right now it's not the alternative. It's trying to compete. And you remember, like Zach said, ZWC Sports, he said that the Impact Wrestling tried to move. They moved Impact on from Thursday night to Monday nights to go against Monday Night Raw when Hulk Hogan was there, and they got destroyed to the point where they had to quickly move back to Thursday nights. Just stop trying to compete with the WWE. Just do your thing, and if you build it, they will come. And if you build a solid show and you make a good card and you have a good solid wrestling with compelling stories, people will watch. But stop making everything about the WWE. And I agree, both shows tried too hard. I'm curious to see what the numbers will be next week, because I don't think NXT did anything to make me tune in next week. AEW kind of sort of did, but I'm still curious to see what these numbers will look like next week. Will 921,000 people be watching NXT? I highly doubt it. So we'll see what the numbers look like on Tuesday night.
I agree fully. Good job. And once again, AEW, you're not going to win in ratings. You're not going to win in merch sales, advertising. Even when you go to HBO Max, you're not going to be winning there. What you need to do is win by producing a better show. And so focus on that. And that's it. And that's what you'll always have.
And you'll be fine.
Always be a better show. So don't let Triple H do better than you, TK. Do better. Sorry about my awful rant, but it just drove me crazy.
No,
I'm going to get yelled at by my producer after this. Shooting Star Press is going to give it to me once we're off the air.
No, it's all good.
All right, y'all. That was AEW. Next week should be exciting as well. We got the follow through. We got Roman Reigns return tonight. We got, I'm assuming, Collision and Dynamite are going to be big. I think we have a Battle Royal going on. We have some good things. Let's see what Edge and Christian are doing. MJF. Is Adam Cole ever going to get out of Roderick Strong's house? We have a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff going on. So
is Jade Cargill going to be on NXT this Tuesday?
Yeah. So is Christian Cage going to be the TNT champion against Bryan Danielson?
That's right. So. Bryan Danielson. So we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about next week. At least we don't have to talk about a war, and hopefully we don't have to talk about TK's stupid tweets. So
stay off Twitter.
Yes. Thank you. Stay off Twitter for sure. As always, I am the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. Keep subscribing, keep following, keep listening if you like our rants. And if I remember right, the honorary dude like 4 weeks ago had a rant of his own. So we all got him. But I forgot what it was about. But yeah. But anyway, but yes. Oh, that's right.
Cody Rhodes and Brock, how stupid
that is. That's right. So keep tuning in as always. Keep telling your parents and your friends and your girlfriends and your boyfriends about it. Keep tuning in. And as always, I am with
Mr. Shooting Star Press. For now, we are on the TikTok. We're at Two Dudes with Attitudes on TikTok, so go follow us there. We're starting to post some content there on the regular, so come check us out. Go rate us and review us on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. But yeah, we're killing it right now. We're almost at 500. But we need to get to that magic number. I feel like I've been saying that for the last 3 weeks, so we need to get over the hump. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Let's go.
So
all right, man.
Two dudes
out.
It's the two dudes with the attitudes. Let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is. Man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to